Support.
agenda.
Move to approve by Councilmember Kideckel with support by Councilmember Baker. Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll?
Blanchard,
Yes.
Kadeco,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we come to the citizens' comments portion of tonight's meeting, when you may present your thoughts on issues that are not included on tonight's agenda. Council members will not engage you in discussion. If your concern needs to be addressed by a member of city staff or a department of the city, please sign your name on the sheet provided at the clerk's table. You may speak on a specific agenda item when it is being considered. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence.
Hello, my name is Sean Civitone. I'm with State Senator Marty Nolenberg's office. Mr. Mayor, City Council, residents in attendance, I just really came by today. I wanted to say hello, let you know how excited we are to be able to represent you in Lansing and how much we're looking forward to being able to work with you for the next 4 years. I know there's a lot of great things that we can do. We have been issued our business cards and other things are starting to come into the office, so hopefully I'll be able to bring those around to you. I'd like to leave the phone number for the office, if that's okay. It's 517-373-2523. If any of your citizens have any problems with state government or if we can help in any way, please feel free to call anytime. My name is Sean. I'd be glad to take care of the issues for you. Thank you for having me today. Bye.
Thank you, Sean. Seeing no one else coming to the microphone, then we move on to the consent agenda. Ms. Boucher, would you please read the items on tonight's consent agenda?
Approval of the minutes, matter of approving the minutes of the regular 35th City Council meeting on Monday, January 5th, 2015. Approval of the warrant, matter of approving warrant number 1286.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Blanchard. Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll?
Kadeco,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Now we move on to the regular agenda. Ms. Boucher, would you please read item number 1 on tonight's regular agenda?
Recognitions, presentations, matter of any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
Seeing none, then we'll move on to item number 2.
Motion number M0415, matter of approving the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Berkeley and the Berkeley School District for shared resources and services.
Is there a motion to approve M0415?
Move to approve.
Moved to approve by
Support.
Councilmember Kideckel with support by Councilmember Baker. Ms. DeSessa.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. This is a contract that was agreed upon with the school district back in 2014. But to give us a brief review of what this contract is all about, I've asked our Public Works Director to just simply step up and talk about the items that we're working with the school. This is something that we are recommending for your consideration. Mr. Schuler.
Good evening. Before you tonight is an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Berkeley and the Berkeley School District, and we previously entered into essentially the same agreement a couple of years ago, and we'd like to bring it back for you tonight to approve for another 2-year period. This is for shared resources and services, so it's a broad spectrum that we could utilize it for. Up to this point, we have only utilized it for rock salt and fuel, and that's items that the school district purchases from the City of Berkeley. They're able to benefit from our economies of scale on bulk road salt and unleaded fuel. And needless to say, they've been very pleased with the pricing. The pricing does change from time to time. Rock salt only changes a couple times a year. Unleaded fuel will rise and fall monthly. So we update those dollar amounts every month, and working with the finance department, bill the school district plus an administrative fee, and it's worked out very well. And the school board is very pleased with this relationship. And we may extend the boundaries of this in the future, it does allow us to do a lot of different things. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council? Councilmember Blanchard.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is basically the same agreement as we did 2 years ago, just a change in the numbers and stuff.
That is exactly correct, and the city attorney has reviewed it. It's exactly the same. The appendices are the only items that change, and those are the items that do change from time to time based upon unit pricing.
You read so much of that legalese, you get confused, so I thought it was the same, but I wasn't sure.
It is the same.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the council? Well, it's nice to see the continued collaboration and sharing of resources with the school district. This benefits all our residents and the entire community, and I'm very pleased, and like everybody on the council, we're pleased that this is coming before us again.
Thank you.
So thank you for your work on this.
No problem.
Seeing no one else then, Ms. Boucher, please call the roll on M0415.
Stedman,
Oh, yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Kadeco,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now, Ms. Boucher, would you please read item number 3?
Resolution number R0315, matter of requesting approval of Department of Natural Resources and National Park Service conversion amendments.
Is there a motion to approve R0315?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Baker with support by Councilmember Kadeco. Mr. Sessa.
Finally, we are here. I know that our city attorney, my staff, many members of administration have been working very hard to get this. Apparently, it's not as simple as it sounds. I know that working with the Department of Natural Resources, there are many processes in order for us to get here. But as you all know, the city did acquire some property in order so that we can make it into parkland, and we purchased this land from the school district. In order for us to actually do this, we do need to meet with the Department of Natural Resources in order so that that can happen. Now, I probably said already too much, but I would like to ask our interim director, Ms. Teresa McCarlton, to step up and have her give the city council and members of the public some information about this event.
Good evening. As the city manager said, no one ever accused government, whether it's local, state, or national, of moving fast. So this has been going on for a little while. One of the things that we've had to do is submit a lot of paperwork to the MDNR. There's been a lot of reworking of maps and a lot of, no, we need this, no, we need that. And so we finally got to a place where they have accepted all the information. They sent it to the National Department of Parks and Recreation, who also accepted it. This is the final stage. Once we send this in, then they sign the paperwork. This is really needed mostly to convert the property that was once a community park. So this way it'll allow us to apply for additional grants and things that we need for the property at the new property that we have at Oxford Park, and we'll score much higher on a lot of those scores that we've always lost points from. So it's really exciting. I mean, gaining parkland is really exciting, especially in that area of the city where it's really needed and necessary. And then the fact that, you know, it's going to help us apply for different state grants is really exciting as well. So we're excited. It's going to be a lot of work between city administration, our rec board, who we have a lot of members here, our staff, and then we'll probably, you know, at some point also ask for citizens' input, because it's a lot of parkland and we've got a lot to do to it. So we're excited.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Councilmember Kadeco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Carlton. I know we've been working on this a long, long time, and I just want to say I'm so confident that this is going to be successful. We have the majority of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board here tonight, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of the rec board want to make comments, but I think that possibly some of them may. They've been also instrumental in us, you know,
Very instrumental.
going after this and this happening. So they'd like to speak if you have no more questions.
I think somebody.
Oh, Gary wants to speak.
Thank you. Gary Polk, of course, I'm a member of the board, vice chairman. I am just overjoyed. We've been working on this for several years now. Some of us have been on the board since we lost the ability to get grants, and just having another park is something this city really needs. And I'm so thankful for the council, for the Parks and Rec Department, for the school board, and everybody who has who has worked so hard to get this done. I hope I'm the first person at that new park. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Betty Smith, and I've been on the board for quite a few years. It's my neighborhood park. I'm just excited, and we're ready to go. Let's get going and get that park in shape and get the money when we can. And I can't believe it, really, but it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. The Mayor Pro Tem and our liaison to Parks and Rec can't be here tonight, and he is very disappointed that he can't be here to enjoy this moment. But he sent me a text and asked me to read it, and I would like to share that with all of the council and the residents. I sincerely apologize that I am not there tonight to see this resolution formally approved. This is a truly exciting time for our city, a city that was built around its park system. Instead of building around an existing park, we now have the opportunity to build a park to suit the needs and desires of our residents. I grew up on Oakshire between Cambridge and Oxford and didn't realize how lucky I was to grow up across from an open field, a park, a baseball diamond, until it was gone. It has been a lengthy process to acquire this land and to have it approved by the requisite authorities, the DNR, the National Park Service, and so on, but we finally reached our desired outcome. The land is now owned by the residents of Berkley, and this conversion is set to be approved. Now we have an exciting opportunity of designing and constructing a park to meet the needs of our residents. I want to thank everybody who's involved in the process, the city manager, city attorney, and finance director, for ensuring the process was handled correctly and with utmost professionalism. Mayor O'Dwyer for his adept communication skills in negotiating in good faith with our friends in the school district. Tom, Teresa, and the staff and members of our Parks and Rec Board for the mountains of paperwork associated with the mitigation, conversion, and subsequent approval of the land. And finally, I want to thank the residents for their nearly 10 years of patience as we sorted and worked our way through this process. Dan Terbrecht, Mayor Pro Tem. And I think Dan just sums up nicely the sentiment of all of us. This is a wonderful occasion. We want to thank everybody involved along the line. So many people contributed over the years to pushing this forward. And having this new green space, this park, is a wonderful contribution to the quality of life in our city. And on behalf of all our residents and all of the people who will use this down through the years, I want to also thank everybody for their help in making this come to pass. And for the school district, school board as well, for their contribution to working this deal out. Everybody wins when a new park is open in any city, in any community. Are there any other comments from members of council? Very good. We are now ready then to take this vote. Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll on R0315?
Baker?
Yes.
Blanchard?
Yes.
Kadeco?
Yes.
Stedman?
Yes.
O'Dwyer?
Yes. Very good. And now, Ms. Boucher, we'll move along to item number 4.
Resolution number R0415, matter of establishing an ad hoc Woodward Dream Cruise Committee coordinating the 2015 Dream Cruise event for the city of Berkley.
Is there a motion to approve R0415?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by
Support.
Councilman Kadeco, support by Councilmember Blanchard. Mr. Sessa.
Council, it is that time again, and we're here to make some appointees. In the council's packet We have a listing. Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, would you read them? And then also our chairman, Mark Kuhn, is here with us as well. I'm sure he'd like to make some remarks as well.
Very good. Mr. Chairman?
Good evening, everyone. It is that time of year again. And even though we got 14 plus some odd inches of snow, we still have to start getting ready for what's going to come upon us very quickly. And then we're going to be saying in August, where'd the summer go? But we have to plan for it and get ready. Appreciate that this is coming forward tonight. I'm planning on, we'll end up having a meeting in February sometime and then at that point then start our regular meetings every month, and then they'll get shorter or there'll be more of them as we get closer to the event. So with that being said, I think that there's a lot to do yet, and we have a long way to go, but at the same time, we've done this so many times that it's not automatic, but it will go well. If you have any questions about what we plan on doing, don't ask me yet.
Very good. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Now,
Just a comment, Your Honor. I did confirm with the chamber that their member is going to be again this year, Scott. So
okay, very
I
good.
saw him on the list, and I want to make sure that they concurred. We met tonight and discussed that, so.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to that motion to have the representative from Parks and Recreation read as Teresa McCarlton.
Very good. And is that acceptable to the seconder of the motion?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so we have the list. Let me read it down for the sake of everybody at home. Mayor, non-voting member, Phil O'Dwyer. Council member, non-voting member, Alan Cadecle. City manager, non-voting member, Jane Baez-DeSessa. One representative from Parks and Rec, Teresa McCarlton. One representative from Public Safety, Rick Eshman. One representative from Public Works, Sean Young. One parade coordinator, Justin Frost. One member of the Chamber of Commerce, Scott Zuklewski. 4 members of service organizations, Cinda Kuhn, Dan Irwin, Betty Smith, and Judy Rubin. One representative from Berkley Business, Mark Kuhn, and 4 from residents, Knox Cameron. That's the list we have up to this point. Any questions, any discussion about any of these members? Hearing none, then, Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll on those appointments of R0415?
Blanchard,
Yes.
Cadecle,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. We thank all of them for volunteering their time, their talent, to make Cruise Fest such a signature event in our city.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We might make note that we have 4 positions there and only 1 filled. There are 3 for residents yet that can be filled. If anybody's interested, they can go and get an application and submit it to the city for those other 3 positions.
Exactly right. And we'd love to have more people help make this the most spectacular Cruise Fest. Very good. Ms. Boucher, please read item number 5.
Motion number M0515, matter of awarding the firing range renovation and equipment installation contract to Fusion Targets, 1187 South, 1480 West, Orem, Utah, 84058, at a cost not to exceed $35,349.95 from the building improvements account number 101-310-976-000.
Is there a motion to approve M0515?
Motion to approve M0515.
Support.
Motion approved by Councilmember Blanchard with support by Councilmember Cadecle. Mr. Sessa.
Council, this is probably one of the most important projects that we're working on right now at our Public Safety Department. I've asked our Director of Public Safety, Mr. Rick Eshman, to approach the City Council and explain the process that we underwent in order to examine this item and to help me answer any questions that you may have. Chief Eshman?
Our existing firearm range is 25 years old, and it was constructed with now obsolete technology and equipment. Due to ongoing problems, council has approved in this year's budget funding for renovation. Initially, in addressing this project, I got together with our firearm range master, Sergeant Jordan Kobernick, who you know, and Lieutenant Michael Crum. However, while police officers are very well trained in the use of firearms, we lack familiarity with the design and the construction of the facilities. We were at a loss. Enter Councilman Blanchard. What some of you may or may not know is Councilman Blanchard was the Assistant Chief Engineer for General Motors Diesel in North America. And in his other life, he was a colonel in the United States Army. And part of his responsibility was the design and maintenance of firearm ranges for the military throughout Michigan and Indiana. So obviously, we needed his services, and as always, Councilman Blanchard came running, offering his assistance. So we put together what we thought was a good proposal, and we put it out for an RFP, and on January 15th, we opened the bids. Fusion Target was $17,000 less than the next closest bidder. However, there's one caveat. There was a $3,500 piece of equipment left off, which had to do with certain structural changes on the sides, the addition of armor plating on the sides of the range to deflect any bullets that were misdirected. None of the companies put that in. It would all of them would have to add something for that. Even with that, Fusion Target was $13,000 less than the next closest bidder, and that bidder again would have to add something for that. All of the bidders happened to get their equipment from the same manufacturer. We're getting the same product from all of them. This company has a good reputation. In business for a while, all of them have, the owners have extensive experience in this. The warranty from each company was 1 year, but this company has now offered to put a second year on and has done so. So we can answer any questions. I have Sergeant Kobernick for the technical firearm issues if they come up, and of course Councilman Blanchard.
Oh, I would have a question about a warranty of only 1 year, or let's say 2 years if they go to that. I mean, what can go wrong that they couldn't warranty it more than 2 years? I mean, it's because I don't understand. I'm asking that question. Maybe Jordan or Jack.
Well, it can be warranted longer. There's no moving parts. It's just that their company policy was 1 year. We asked them to extend it. They offered 2 years. This is a rubber range. We fire into pieces of rubber, and they deteriorate as you fire. Between 80 and 100,000 rounds, they have to do what they call mining, and they have to go in. We have to go in and get the lead out and put some new rubber in there. Periodic process. So they didn't want to get warranted till we fired 100,000 rounds, so they'd have to cover that under warranty. Okay. But it's standard in the industry for 1 year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right, Jordan? Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
Any other questions from the council? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thanks to you all for this incredible work here. I think it's important that we stay up on the latest in ability to train and make sure that we operate these safely. I just have a logistics question in terms of the time it takes to install such a thing. Could you describe for us just at a high level the approximate timeline moving forward?
Sure. They're looking at about 5 weeks from manufacturer to install. So we're looking at actually downtime about a week, week and a half is all we're looking at for them to actually come in, remove the old, and put the new in. Week and a half to 2 weeks for that.
Another key point is this will allow us to fire much cheaper ammunition than we're firing now and save money. We now have to fire a frangible ammunition, which breaks up, and we can fire regular ammunition, which is what would our officers fire on the road if they have to. It's be more familiar with the accuracy. The other thing about these side things is these range companies don't understand the Michigan MCO's training procedures. They thought we shot straight down the line, but on MCOs we shoot cross range sometimes, and that's why we had to have those baffles on the side to prevent the sides from shooting, because we fire cross range, you fire offhand, gun hand, radio hand, you fire both ways, and so we wanted to make sure that was in there, and it didn't get in, did not get in there in all the proposals, so we went back and had it added to the proposal.
Question about health with the lead involvement. Is there any procedures or mechanism to protect the health of our guys when they're practicing?
Yes, there is. We have to maintain an airflow. We have to maintain a negative air pressure in the room so that nothing goes out, and it's all blown in one end and exhausted out the other end, and then it goes through some very stringent filters to make sure that there's no lead going outside in the air.
Okay.
And a number of procedures of what you have to do inside the range also. And anyone that's an instructor that's on the range for a lot longer, they have to document their hours of range time, and then on an annual basis, we send them off for a blood test to make sure that they have not accumulated lead in their system.
Good. That's good.
With this system as well, if I could.
Yes.
It's an encapsulating system. So versus the old system where the round went down and it bounced around and ended up on the floor, this system with the rubber, it actually encapsulates the bullet, which holds onto the lead. So when they do the mining, professionals come in, professional equipment, and mine it out. So for us, it's less exposure of stuff bouncing around the actual range. So.
Very good. Councilmember Cadet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How much ammunition is used in a given year in our facility, let's say?
Practice ammunition, I would say just about 10,000 to 13,000 rounds per year of handgun ammo. With that said, per lane, this new system will take about 75,000 rounds per lane. There's 3 lanes down there. My math, it's about 10 years for the mining process. So.
Pretty good.
We were shooting for a long time.
No, that's great, and I know that Councilmember Blanchard and I have had a lot of dialogue on this, and I know how hard he's been working, and I want to thank you, Sergeant, you, Chief, and also Lieutenant, for all the hard work you guys put into it.
Mr. Sessa.
Council, this is just a minor point. But the finance director, wants to assure you that Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are very careful with our dollars, and we're very appreciative the City Council has allocated some funds to do this. But my understanding, we did try to get a grant for this, and
Yes, we were on.
yeah, we did. I just want the record to show that we're very careful with our dollars. We want to make sure that we do the best that we can with them, and they also tried very hard to get a grant for this, but unsuccessful. That doesn't mean we won't try again, but just let the record show. All right, thank you, Your Honor.
And one other point I missed here, when we added the $3,500 for the side iron plates, we were still under the amount appropriated.
Thank you.
Right.
Very good. Thank you.
Very good. Seeing no more questions, then, Ms. Boucher, you please call the roll on M0515.
Hideko,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. Thank you. Ms. Boucher, please read item number 6.
Motion number M0615, matter of approving the Zinio agreement form between the Berkeley Public Library and the Library Network for a downloadable magazine service to be paid from the downloadable content 101-738-731-001 account.
Is there a motion to approve M0615?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman,
Support.
support by Councilmember Cadet. Mr. Sessa.
Council, you may recall you did approve at last month's meeting the budget amendment in order so that we can do this. And this is an agreement that we currently have. However, there is just a small minor change. And so I asked our library director, Mr. Matthew Church, to come and again explain this process to you, and again request the City Council to approve this agreement as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Church, and he can explain this new contract.
All right. Good
Here we
evening.
go.
So we have downloadable ebooks and downloadable audiobooks, and Zinio is a new downloadable service. It's downloadable magazines. This service will give our patrons access to over 240 magazine titles. So from your iPads, from your tablets, from your PCs, from your phone, you can download full color, full issues of popular magazines. So you don't have to come into the library to check them out. You can check them out from home, and then it remains on your device for you to read. It's very intuitive interface, the checkout process, and that it's full color. It is just like flipping through a magazine. If there's a hot link to something, you can click on that and be directed to the site rather than needing to type it in. All sorts of bells and whistles. So as I've mentioned in the memo, downloadable content really is our greatest area of growth right now for the library. I noted there the growth from September 2012 to September 2014, and I'm happy to report that last month we were close to breaking 1,000 downloads for the month. So this continues to be a great area of growth. So as Jane mentioned, you approved the funds for this. I reallocated some resources that we were using for some costly financial publications, Value Line and Standard & Poor's. So good resources, but just used by a few people in the community. This will be used by many people in the community. So I think that will really be a good value for everyone. TLN administers the contract with Zinio, so they have negotiated an access fee discount greater than if we were just to walk up to Zinio and subscribe on our own. And also because so many libraries participate, we get many more titles than we'd be able to afford on our own. So if this is approved this evening, the service will start in May of 2015.
Thank you, Matt. Any question or discussion on this? This seems to be a very wise expenditure of money in terms of the payoff for the community.
Right.
So they have access through the technology in their own home. I mean, this is just
Amazing.
just a wonderful development.
Good.
And when you're as old as I am, you're really impressed by technology like this.
Yes.
It is a wonderful thing. Very good. Seeing no further discussion on this item, Ms. Boucher, please call the roll on M0615.
Stedman?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Blanchard?
Yes.
Kadako?
Yes.
O'Dwyer?
Yes. And now, Ms. Boucher,
Thank you.
please read item number 7.
Motion number M0715, matter of approving a contract to LSL Planning, 306 South Washington, Suite 400, Royal Oak, Michigan, 48067, at a cost not to exceed $11,254 for the purpose of preparing a refined design concept for the Berkley Robina project. A budget adjustment will be made in the near future.
Is there a motion to approve M0715?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Councilmember Baker,
Support.
support by Councilmember Kadekla. Mr. Sessa.
Council, the Downtown Development Authority did examine this item, and they did unanimously approve a motion to recommend to the City Council to finalize this agreement. Now, this is a professional service agreement. The DDA has worked many times with LSL Planning, and as you know, LSL as well has worked very closely with the City of Berkeley in the development of our master plan. And so we're familiar with LSL and their work. They've done an outstanding job for us, and we'd like to continue that relationship. And so with us this evening, we have one of our board members from the Downtown Development Authority, Mr. Keith Logston, and I guess he'll say a few things about this project. And we also have with us Mr. Brad Strader, who you all know, and he will be here to also just explain a little bit more about this proposal so the public will know. And then administration is also recommending that the City Council consider this item favorably as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Logston. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Mr. Sessa. You'll recall that in our master plan, we had a series of catalytic projects that were identified as ways to improve the city. So Robina, as you may recall, is one of those catalytic projects. The city, along with the MML, decided to go forward with a pilot project that would put in some temporary installations at the Art Bash last June of 2014 to get public response and ideas as to what Robina could become, the area of Robina and 12 Mile in particular. So the MML published a report which was very thorough and extensive. So we took that report, Mr. Strader reviewed that, and then submitted a proposal to us to take that next logical step in the process of moving this catalytic project forward. So The DDA is looking forward to working with LSL to further develop ideas, both short-term and long-term, to see what this area can be. And with that, I'd like to turn over to Brad to explain in a little more detail what we're going to be doing.
Thank you.
Good evening. Nice to see you all again. We appreciate the opportunity to work with the city and the DDA again. And just a quick refresher. So in 2007, the master plan that LSL prepared with the Planning Commission and many of you and residents came up with the catalytic projects. One of them was the intersection of Robina and 12 Mile to make it more of a central place. So the idea was there in the plan. The DDA had been looking at ways to start implementing some of those concepts and refine them. And I think thanks to the MML with their My Place program, and started looking at things with last year's Art Bash and got some ideas there and got people excited. And so the DDA said, well, we think the next step in the project would be to take some of those ideas from the master plan and the Art Bash and all these different ideas and get together first with the officials from the DDA, Council, Planning Commission, and maybe some others, and say, well, what are the ideas that were in the various documents that we think are valid? What are the criteria that we think should help us decide what to do? And then to have a workshop involving the neighborhood and the businesses as well to come up with what's the best design for Robina. Would it be closing the road, as someone said, keeping it open, maybe making some changes in design? Maybe it's you close it just sometimes of the year like has been done occasionally. And how do we make it a place, a center for Berkeley? So that would be the idea. We'd have one meeting with sort of the officials, agree on the criteria, then a public workshop, and then Keith and the DDA and I have been talking about maybe even at this year's Art Bash we could have the concepts that we come up with so people can see what it is and maybe get some additional reaction. And the idea is the deliverable at the end, because the city manager was clear what will be our deliverable, and I think that was a good question. It'll be a schematic so that once we all agree that's the design we want, then it can move into actual design and construction after that. And so that's one of the reasons we brought Grissom Metz in, because they're landscape architects, urban designers. They work a lot with your city engineer, HRC, so we could have a seamless transition from these ideas we've had to a schematic to design and construction.
Very good, Mr. Sessa.
Council, I'd like to further just comment. And also, as we mentioned earlier, we're very fortunate that City Council works very closely with us on many items. And I'd like to personally thank Councilman Baker because he was instrumental as well. He is on the MML board. And thanks to his encouragement, we were able to work and receive some assistance from MML. And so, Councilman Baker, thank you again for your assistance in that matter. But it was a lot of fun last year. I know many of us who participated and worked together with MML in this project, and we enjoyed hearing the remarks from not just our residents, but we also had people during the Art Bash from all over our city, our state. And wow, it was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of good responses. And I know I've sent you a copy of the report, but if you'd like to take a look at it again, I'd be more than happy to send it to you. But anyways, I'm looking forward to working with LSL and the DDA, and I think this is a great project. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion on this item? Yes, Councilmember Baker.
Well, thank you, Your Honor, and I appreciate those kind words. It's a great community to serve. It's really my honor to help be a part of this and to do what little I can to help offer some tools and resources so that great folks like yourselves who really know the intricacies of how to make these things work can in turn create an environment, create a context where we can engage the residents and the businesses and move this forward. So thank you. Certainly, I was at the DDA discussion where this proposal was reviewed, and was very pleased with the encouragement and enthusiasm of that board, along with others, the volunteers who helped with that project last summer, the chamber and others who are interested in helping move this forward. It's a great coming together. As Brad mentioned, it's very catalytic in a lot of sense, not only to help spark that downtown, but to bring the people together to work on these kinds of initiatives. So thanks, and here's to moving forward.
Exactly right. And we thank the DDA for their significant contribution to this effort and leadership. I think this will be an exciting development, and it will bring life and vitality to that area in a way that it hasn't had in the past. The MML project last year was exciting, and people were kind of intrigued by the possibilities. So I'm excited too about what y'all are going to come up with and propose. Councilor Blanchard.
Thank you. Just a quick one. I probably read it in here. What's the timeline for completion on this?
Well, the idea now is to have probably a meeting with the officials in April, and then maybe the public shredder workshop in May, so be ready to show something at the Art Bash. We'd like to wait till the weather gets a little bit better so we can go out there and have walking tours. So as everybody's kind of creative and outdoors, and when spring starts, our idea is to have this done, start in the spring and be done by early summer.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. Very good. Hearing no further discussion, then Ms. Boucher, please call the roll on M0715.
Baker,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Kadeco,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now, Ms. Boucher, you please read item number 8.
Resolution number R0515, matter of authorizing the mayor and city manager to execute an agreement with the Berkley School District to collect and remit their July 2015 property tax levy.
Is there a motion to approve R0515?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Stedman.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Blanchard. Mr. Sessa.
Council, this is a matter that appears before the City Council on an annual basis, and I know perhaps if our Finance Director would like to say something, I'll turn it over to him. Mr. Sabuda?
Thank you, Mrs. DeSessa. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. What you have before you again is a one-year contract from July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. This is a very advantageous contract for all citizens of the City of Berkeley because what this does is have all taxes come to one spot, all property tax payments come to one spot. And the school board again has asked us to collect on their behalf, which we are glad to do so and are recommending to you tonight that we do collect these taxes for the school district. We also collect for Royal Oak, and they don't ask us for a contract, but that's fine. We go year in and year out unless they say something. Berkeley School District does ask us for a contract year in and year out. And again, we're recommending approval. I want to point out too that City Attorney Starron has reviewed the contract with no exceptions noted.
Just a point of clarification. When you say we collect for Royal Oak, you're talking about that little sliver down by Columbia, down by...
Yes, that is correct.
So we're
That
not
is correct.
collecting for Royal Oak as a general proposition.
Royal Oak School District.
Right. It's
Yeah.
only that little sliver of
Just
land.
that sliver, right.
Yeah.
That's just what's in Berkeley.
Just so that the residents know that...
Thank you.
Very good. Any additional questions or discussion on that item? Councilor Blanchard.
Same question again, Your Honor. Is this basically the same as last year without any major changes?
That is correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Same.
Thank you.
Very good. Seeing no additional discussion then, Ms. Boucher, you please call the roll on R0515.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Kadeco,
Yes.
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now, Ms. Boucher, would you please read item number 9?
Resolution number R0615, matter of establishing the policy and guide for granting an exemption from payment of property taxes.
Is there a motion to approve R0615?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilmember Kadeco.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Blanchard. Mr. Sessa.
Council, this matter also comes to you on an annual basis for your consideration. Now, the figures may change, but this is important information. Our finance director has prepared a memorandum for you to examine, and I'd like to ask him to just simply give us a quick summary of the importance of this matter. I know that this is done in accordance with state law, Public Act 390 of 1994 as amended. Mr. Sabuda?
Thank you, Mrs. DeSessa. Again, good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is an annual item. What is being proposed tonight is the guidelines that the Board of Review will utilize in order to determine partial or fully or no exemption for an individual asking for a hardship or for a property tax reduction during the March, July, and December Board of Reviews for 2015. So what we do here is we develop the guidelines, council approves them, they are handed to the Board of Review. People will come in and they will apply for a hardship, or they will come in and set up an appointment with the Board of Review and have their case heard before them. The board will use these guidelines along with the city assessor, and they will determine what type of exemption, if any, will be granted. Please note that the Board of Review will be the first 2 weeks of March this year at certain times, and as usual, the assessment notices will be going out to everyone's home. From there, if someone wants to appeal their property taxes, they can do so. They can set up an appointment with Oakland County Equalization, come here to the Berkeley City Hall, and the Board of Review will hear their case. You do not, however, need an appointment. You can show up. However, appointments will be taken over people who just come to City Hall, so therefore we recommend the appointment. So along with the notice being mailed to everyone's home and business, we also post this, the Board of Review, and we also advertise in the paper, the Board of Review. And then with anyone who has filed a hardship or who has requested the necessary documents to file a hardship that would be heard before the Board of Review, we do mail the application to those folks so that they get a head start on the application process and the eventual hearing process. The application is lengthy. It does take some time. We would ask that the application come to the board or to the City Treasury Department, and then we turn it over to the board around mid-February, mid to late February. However, it's not necessary, and someone can bring the application to the board on the night of their hearing with the board. And again, what you're approving here is guidelines that the board will utilize this upcoming hearing season. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Councilor Blanchard.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wood, under Section 12, Veterans Exemption, do we have people that are applying for that in the city?
Yes, we do. We have, there are a handful. If they come in, it's a little bit separate process from this process that you see here tonight. They can come to the Treasury Department and apply directly to the Treasury Department, and based upon state law, they would receive their exemption.
And this is for veterans that are 100% disabled by the VA.
That's correct. And meet.
Not all veterans can get it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And they have to meet all the criteria established by the state of Michigan.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question? Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for that information around this tool or this approach that we have to help our folks in special need to do what they need to do. As mentioned earlier, this is an annual event as well for us. Could you give us any indication of what's changed from last year? Are the rates adjusted wise? Are they about the same? Is it more or less? How does that?
The requirement levels have gone up a bit, 1.1%. We follow the guidelines established by the federal government, and we apply that increase to the federal government rates based on the asset limit test that we have. But the actual income limits are coming right from HUD and the federal government, that federal government agency.
Right, so we're just acting on behalf, representing the homeowners here within the city of Berkeley on behalf of the guidelines as established at the federal level.
That's correct. We're passing those on. That is
Passing
correct.
straight through, yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's somebody at home watching this and they believe that they have a hardship situation and they're wondering about all the effort and the meeting the criteria and so on and all the time it takes, and if they're thinking, I wonder, does anybody actually get this? Does anybody succeed in having some reduction or a waiver in their tax? Give us some sense of the results of these evaluations, a general feel.
Sure. Of course, it's on a case-by-case basis. Right. All right. So everything is examined by the board. The sooner the information is given to the board, the better. I would say that in all the cases, not all cases, but in those cases where there is a hardship is granted, whether it's a full or partial. We do see those coming across. Some, I could certainly tell you, in 7, 8, and 9, those calendar years, we were seeing more hardships because of the economy. And as the economy has gotten better, we're seeing less hardships because people are back employed. So it's all on a case-by-case basis and how the economy is going.
But some people are successful.
Oh, absolutely.
In achieving some help in a hardship situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's important for people at home to know.
Absolutely.
Very good. Anything else on this item? Seeing none, then Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll on RO 615?
Hideko?
Yes.
Stedman?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Blanchard?
Yes.
O'Dwyer?
Yes. And now, Ms. Boucher, would you please read item number 10?
Resolution number R 0715, matter of authorizing amendment of the 2014-2015 operating budget, those operating funds as presented.
Is there a motion to approve RO 715?
Motion to approve.
Moved to approve by Councilmember Stedman with support by Councilmember Hideko. Ms. DeSessa.
Council, as you know, this item appears before you, not every month, but quite often here. And one of the main reasons is to make sure that our budget reflects the proper expenses and revenues and that it is balanced. This is done in accordance with Public Act 2 of 1968 as amended. Now, to have us go through each of these amendments with you is, again, our Finance Director, Mr. David Sabuda. Mr. Sabuda?
Thank you, Mrs. DeSessa. Mr. Mayor and council members, you have 7 amendments before you this evening. They total in cost of new spending of $40,726. Of that amount, $23,443 is new recommended spending within the general fund, and $17,283 is new spending in special revenue and enterprise funds. All other budget amendments will net out. We're reclassifying the amendments between accounts. Item A and item B, as I mentioned, are together. And basically what's happening here is we are reclassifying appropriation. We're consolidating the payment of our dental and vision administrative costs into one account versus spreading them across all accounts. We find that it's a fair presentation and a fair way to pay for that vendor through our set of accounts. Item C is a reclassification of expenses also, $800. We initially had appropriated for a desk to be purchased in the city manager's area. In lieu of that, we are purchasing that in the recreation department. So we're shifting the appropriation from the city manager to the recreation department. Item D, very small increase of $100 due to the fact that the bids came in over budget on the purchase of equipment for the public safety department by $100. We're increasing by that small amount, the appropriation. Item E, we're reclassifying the mechanic. Basically, we make our best estimate at the beginning of the budget year based upon direct labor historically. And this year has been a lot different than prior years because of the 8/11 storm and a few other issues. So what we're doing is we're increasing DPW expenditures in the general fund and decreasing expenditures in the water sewer fund. Also in this amendment, we've had some additional increases in overtime costs due to water main breaks, so we're accounting for that with this amendment also. In item F, you have a one-time cost for a grant research service membership that was approved by council back in August and paid for back in August. So we're increasing the necessary count by the $2,800 that the service costs. And then finally, in the ice arena fund, we had some additional expenditures for building improvements to the tune of $8,500. So what we're doing is we're increasing the appropriation for building improvements by $8,500. The rec revolving fund is paying for that. So we're transferring the money from the recreation revolving fund to the ice arena fund to cover that cost. I'll be happy, that concludes the budget amendments for this evening, Mr. Mayor. I'd be happy to entertain any questions council may
Any
have.
questions for Mr. Sabuda?
He's got it straight.
Well, it obviously is very clear why we have to make those adjustments.
Absolutely.
And so it is pretty
Has to be
straightforward.
done.
Yes.
Has to be done.
And it's explained very well.
And
Thank
yes,
you.
it is very clear.
Very
So then, if there are no questions for our finance director, Ms. Bowers, would you please call the roll on R 0715?
Stedman,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Blanchard,
Yes.
Kadeco.
Yes.
O'Dwyer.
Yes. And now we come to the communications portion of tonight's meeting. Ms. Boucher, who should be first?
Baker.
Councilmember Baker, you're up
All
first.
right. Well, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Good evening again, everybody. I'd like to just start with a quick quote from Sinclair Lewis, who once said, "Winter is not a season, it's an occupation." Winter is not a season, it is an occupation. So I offer that, obviously, those of you that are watching this now or in relatively soon through video technology may notice that we got a little bit of snow recently. And it's offered that quote to serve up gratitude and appreciation for our Public Works Department for all that they've done to help ensure that our streets are clear and safe. Just tremendous work. I just can only imagine the kinds of shifts that they pull to do that kind of stuff. In addition to the water main breaks that have been mentioned recently, we had several of those over it seems like the last week or so. Bad time for those pipes for sure. So I'm very pleased and grateful for all of their hard work. And I'd also like to thank the residents themselves, the neighborly support that I see up and down the streets, helping one another get through these kinds of things, right? The snowfalls, especially of this magnitude, tend to bring out the best in so many of us. You're already out there. If you've got a snow blower, you just go that extra one little stretch down the road, or taking the shovel to help someone else clear off their porch. Those kinds of things are incredibly important, and that's a lot of what makes the city so fantastic. So, as we live up to the occupation, as was stated in that quote, I'm very grateful for all the work that we do and the care and safety with which we conduct those activities. Secondly, I'd like to offer my congratulations to our historical committee. The Berkley Historical Committee was recognized in the local paper again recently. They have a great new display featuring the Sears kit homes that are throughout the city. You may or may not even know how many of those we have around us here. But essentially, you could, for many years, basically buy your home through a catalog, and all the pieces would come and they'd show up. You don't even have a doorstep for them to deliver them to yet, but you get these kits and you build it yourselves, and so that was how a lot of these houses that you drive by every day are out there. So there was a tremendous discussion that was offered up at the library. It was very popular, and it's actually coming back again on February 21st at 2 o'clock. An encore performance of that dialogue, and so we thank the library director and staff for making that happen. And if you'd like to see more information about those homes, learn more about them, please stop by the museum. There's a wonderful new display that shows a lot of the photos of the homes and the catalogs and things like that you could actually get these houses made out of. And then finally, as was mentioned earlier, our Downtown Development Authority is very active in planning for the upcoming fiscal year. The next board meeting is next week's Wednesday, and I'm sure they will be pleased to hear the motion that was passed earlier this evening with regards to the Robina initiative. And I think that's the testament to the great work that our DDA does to help advance our downtown and the surrounding area here, to help ensure that the businesses have every opportunity to survive and thrive. To the residents and visitors of our city, have great shopping and dining and experiences up and down the streets. And so I offer my thanks to our DDA as well. With that, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stedman.
Okay. The library has some interesting programs coming up in February. First of all, the Friends of the Library is having a bake sale. They're on Saturday, February 14th from 10 until 2. And the proceeds from the bake sale will help support the library programs and services. Also on Saturday, February 14th, there's going to be a program at 2 o'clock. The Mermaid Prince and Mermaid Princess and the Snow Queen will be coming to share their stories and greet young princes and princesses. Please register in advance by stopping at the children's desk or calling the library. And a second program is the United States and World War I, Idealism Disappointed. It's a lecture by Bruce Zellers of Oakland University, and that is on Tuesday, February 24th at 6:30. The United States entered World War I late in 1917 following President Wilson's leadership, Americans saw the war as an opportunity to build a better world, and he goes on about this, all the things that occurred, in the start of World War I. Also, the library continues to get wonderful attendance at their programs at their library. So you must be doing a wonderful job, Matt, at advertising and so on, and getting people in. It's just great to see packed rooms and standing room only, and it's wonderful to see that kind of thing happening at our library. Also, I attended, along with other council members, the Off to the Races, which was a fundraiser for the Berkley Education Foundation, and I'm sure they did quite well, because this was the first year that they had actually sold every ticket that they had available, and so congratulations. It was a wonderful, fun event. And I'd also like to thank the DPW for getting the roads cleared so quickly, and they were out last night. They were out all day. They were, they really did a wonderful job on our roads, and I'm very proud of them. And it's wonderful to say that we live in Berkeley and you can actually drive through it in a snowstorm. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Councilor Blanchard.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to echo Councilmember Stedman's thanks to the DPW. I was out about midnight last night, and there was trucks all over the place, so it was looking good. Our streets are very well maintained. The Berkeley Public Safety has an honor guard, I'm sure most of you know, and the honor guard is going to have a fundraiser. It's going to be February 7th from 5:30 to 8 at Farina's Banquet Center, and it will have a comedian. It's a catered dinner and cash bar, comedian Bill Hildebrandt, a silent gift basket auction, and an honor guard presentation. The reason they're doing this is the honor guard needs money for travel, training, and uniforms. So about every year they're going to be having a fundraiser to keep that fund built up so that they can get out there and show us what they really do. If anybody has seen them, they're excellent. And they'll be putting on a demonstration at this thing again. This is the thing. It's going to be at Farina's February 7th. It's $40 per person or $75 per couple, or you can buy a table, seats 8 for $300. So just send money. The point of contact is Andrew Hatfield at Public Safety. You can talk to him at 248-658-3380, extension 3392. So, or any questions, you can get a hold of me and I can link you up with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cadet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I begin tonight with a condolence to the family of Keith A. Bowman. Mr. Bowman was a longtime resident in the city of Berkeley. He lived on Robina in his early years and ended up living on Wakefield. Not only was he for 45 years as a bricklayer, but when things were slow during the time of the season, he would go to the Berkeley Ice Arena, and he was the manager and Zamboni driver for the Berkeley Ice Arena. He volunteered in Berkeley for many, many years. He was very instrumental in the moms clubs and dads clubs. Used to have the bingos for them and raise money for them. His children and grandchildren have grown up in Berkeley and continue to do so. And I would like to give my condolences to the Bowman, Fonts, and Baker family. Get well wishes out to son of the American Legion Commander Daryl Tudoroff. Many of you know Daryl. He's been ill. He's been in and out of the hospital. He is now resting comfortably at home, and so my get well wishes go out to him. Roads. Mr. Schuler, you have the best team in the world. And I can say this personally because I was in another city today, took the chance of going down the road and was stuck for 25 minutes. And when I drive up and down every street in Berkeley, it's amazing. And, you know, people talk about the Berkeley taxes and our services and everything. This is our tax dollars hard at work. And I commend every one of your members and yourself. Thank you. And I also echo what Councilmember Baker said about neighbors helping. You know, I mean, you got 3-4 snow blowers. For those of us that don't have them, it's very convenient because again, that's what Berkeley's all about, being a great neighborhood. Reminder of Winterfest on Saturday, February 7th, from 12 to 4 at the Community Center. Ms. McCarlton, I think you're going to have some snow this year, so we don't have to worry about the snowman building contest. And then after you're done with that, you can go over to the Honor Guard. Off to the races, you mentioned that, Councilwoman Stedman, and she was this close to taking some of us to the hockey game, but unfortunately she was outbid and someone else got it. But thank you for your efforts. And the Berkley Lions Club, which I'm a member of, this March 23rd at 7 o'clock is going to be honored to have Michigan Supreme Court Justice Richard Bernstein as our guest speaker. Admission is free. It's going to be at Farina's. It's at 7 p.m. That's Monday, March 23rd. And I want to thank Farina's and also Dr. Schambaum, or Schambaum Eye Care. They are going to be providing light refreshments there. So I'm looking forward to that. And City Manager has a birthday coming up in the very near future. I think it's number 29.
Yeah.
So I want to wish you a happy birthday. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sessa.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Kadeko. Well, let's see. I do have a few items that I want to just go over as briefly as I can. First of all, Snowfest is coming. I know winter is coming. Winterfest is coming. There you go. Snowfest. Winterfest. I should know that by now. You know, so many things are being planned for that event. And again, it's February the 7th on 2015, and it's from 12 noon to 4 p.m. Things like the winter petting farm we're going to have, snowman building contest, children's crafts, cookie decorating, my favorite, bonfire with s'mores, turkey bowling, turkey bowling. Beautiful ice sculptures are going to be done as well. We'll have some carnival games and a bouncer, of course, for all the children. Broom ball. I don't know what fouling is, but I'm going to leave that there. We'll have open skating at our ice arena so that people can enjoy our arena. And there will be a game, I guess, later on that day between Bloomfield High School and the Blackhawks hockey team. We're also going to have a cakewalk and much, much more, according to our ad. So I don't know, Ms. McCarlton, is there anything else I need to add? We're done. Come on up if you want to, please. Because I know this is an important event for our city. We want to make sure that everybody joins us.
Just that the much, much more for the kids is going to be really exciting. It's kind of a surprise, but I
Okay.
promise you won't want to miss it, especially if you like the movie Frozen. So we're really excited. We had great weather last year, lots of snow, but it was pretty warm out, and we're hoping for the same this year. So fingers crossed.
Thank you. I too would also like to express my congratulations to the Public Works Department and our public safety. You know, I'm very pleased to report to City Council that I've received a few emails from residents that have also sent notice to our staff to thank them for their hard work. So thank you, gentlemen, as always. A great job. You know, the budget process, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of heads up, I know it's coming. And this past week, I'm part of the Wayne State University's committee that examines their affairs or classes that deal with public administration, and I had the privilege of attending one of the classes and help them to understand budgeting. So in 30 minutes or less. That was a lot of fun, so please be reminded. I'd like to congratulate Professor Brady Bayback. He is the adjunct professor for that class, so thank you for inviting me, and I've had a lot of positive response from the students, so keep up the good work. And then also remind the residents that any of this information is available on our website. Please sign up for our subscription to our website at www.berkleymich.org. Also, our mobile app. We have a fantastic mobile app, and a lot of people are signing up for that, and we're still hearing from people on that as well. So, again, please sign up. We will get you your answers as quickly as we can. And as I mentioned, Council, I know the budget process is coming. We're going to be having our meetings, and as we move on, I'll remind you again those dates and also invite the public to join us as well. We also have a work session this coming Friday, again, as a friendly reminder, and this is to help us with our strategic plan for the city of Berkeley, so we know where we're heading in this coming year as we begin preparing our budget. And with that, Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Sabuda.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney.
A couple of things. First, just really updates for council. You may have read in the news or heard on the news within the last couple of weeks that the Michigan Freedom of Information Act has been amended. Fairly extensive amendments that cover a lot of grounds. Will revise our will require revision of our fee structure. Will make us do a few additional things and calculations, and also some rather stringent enhancements in the penalties that apply to the extent that the Freedom of Information Act isn't complied with. Now, it's going into effect on July 1. I know that the city clerk and some others from the city will be undergoing some training in that. I, too, will be attending seminars and things, and just let you know we'll be working together with staff. It's fortunate that we have a little bit of lead time before it goes into effect, but we'll be dealing with that. It will, unfortunately, from the city's perspective, probably will require investment of more precious staff time, but it's the law and we'll need to comply with it. The other thing I wanted to update you on is periodically we speak at this dais about the topic of medical marijuana. We've also spoken about our recent ballot issue, but in regard to medical marijuana, there was legislation proposed last year that would have amended the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act in several different ways, but the principal way is that it would have authorized dispensaries, medical marijuana dispensaries, subject to local regulation. Recall that based on Michigan appellate court rulings, dispensaries have been held to be prohibited by the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. So legislation was pending. All the pundits and people who follow such things were anticipating really adoption and enactment by the state legislature following the November election. But our lame duck legislature has come and gone. No action was taken on these bills. A lobbyist source that I spoke to just last week about the subject indicated to me that there was some late opposition to these bills provided from several different sources, including the Attorney General's office, and it appeared that the momentum for that legislation had waned significantly. It's possible that one or more of those bills will be reintroduced, but again, momentum seems to have waned. So what does that mean for Berkeley? Well, it means that there will still be a push to establish marijuana-related businesses. I am working with the city planner and the city manager. We've been waiting and watching carefully and monitoring these developments in Lansing. Meanwhile, we still get calls. I know our planning director, Ms. Vanson, probably hears from somebody at least once a month who wants to establish a marijuana-related business in the city. So wanted to give you that update, and also a little bit of a heads up that we will probably be presenting to council, as well as the planning commission, some suggested changes to our ordinance just to better deal with and anticipate some of the types of businesses that will arise. Some other communities have seen some rather, I guess, creative deviations and derivations of different types of businesses, dispensaries and grow operations that don't fit real neatly into one category or the other, to the point where they could evade regulations. So basically we want to tighten up and button down our ordinance, not necessarily to be prohibitive, but just to make sure that we do have a regulatory process in place to deal with these types of businesses, and make sure that to the extent they're located in our city, it's done in a compatible way, and a planned way. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? May I just
Mr.
add one-
Sessa.
I apologize. I need to add one thing. You know, we have a lot of viewers that are out there, and I just noticed. I asked our city clerk to remind me about this, and I forgot. You know, talking to everyone on a regular basis, I get many people that stop me. You know, either while I'm walking downtown or I'm at a restaurant or whatever, and they'll say that they watched our council meeting. So I know that I promised to express my appreciation to one of our citizens. So I hope he's watching this evening, Mr. Gerald Schroeder. He says he watches all our council meetings, and he says that I never smile. And there's a reason. So, but anyways, thank you, Mr. Schroeder, for watching, and I encourage all our residents to attend these meetings. They're very important. This is your community, and I sincerely consider it a privilege to serve you all. So thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to say this. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We've gone through a number of items tonight that are very significant. The park is a major development for our city and our community. And so I join everyone else in congratulating the folks who made this happen. Our Public Works Department, who have done such a fabulous job with the roads this time and every time we have snow. Winterfest, another happy event coming up. Collaboration with the school district continues. And now we're able to continue that effort of sharing resources to the benefit of everybody. Our library, drawing great crowds for the many events that they put on. All of this speaks of the city that we have. Berkeley was recently named the second best place to live in Michigan by areavibes.com. Now, this is a highly regarded organization that rank orders cities based on a variety of factors that contribute to quality living. They feature a livability index. They use that to score cities across the state, and Berkeley came in second. This award continues the encouraging trend of similar statewide and national recognitions. They've come our way in the last few years. I would like to thank every resident in our city who helped by being who they are, kind, warm, neighborly people, generous with their talent and time. They have made it so. It is the people that are our principal asset. And it is our task as members of council to help harness that to move our city forward. Even though we are regarded now as second best place to live in the state of Michigan, we wanted to be the first. And so independent outsiders are beginning to see what we have known and why we make Berkeley our home. I am enormously proud of everyone in our city for that achievement, and I'm especially proud to be mayor of this city. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Councilmember Cadecle, support by Councilmember Stedman. Ms. Boucher, would you please call the roll?
Baker?
Yes.
Blanchard?
Yes.
Kadeco?
Yes.
Stedman?
Yes.
O'Dwyer?
Yes. Thank you.
Well said.